Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Portrait of a Ghost. Portrait of a Ghost is a game made by the developer of Kit. I don't know if you've watched it on my channel or not, but it was a really good game with a great art style and everything. This one boasts four endings, hand-drawn art by Endysis themselves, and original music from Calamancer. Its description reads, Arthur Hope is a spirit photographer, able to capture images of the departed with his camera. At least that's what he'd like you to believe. After all, any price is worth paying to see a loved one's face again, isn't it? Unfortunately for him, ghosts just might be more real than he realized. So, I know it's dead silent right now, but I don't know, I kind of like that, especially with the sound of this. This choice alone already makes me excited. I felt like that the dialogue from Kit was so good, so excited to see what this one's like. Part 1. How to profit off of grief. Right this way, madam. Please, make yourself comfortable. Ah, why don't we have a chat before we begin? Tell me more about your dear husband. There. Yes, bless his poor soul. An modest sitting room with curtains open to the afternoon sun, the window perched like a shadow in the arms of a plush velvet seat. With her veil pulled back from her head, delicate fingers clutching the handkerchief she brought repeatedly to her large, sorrowful eyes, she made the perfect image, picture perfect, of the poor grieving soul that the gentleman sitting before her so often received. A poet might have described her glistening eyes as deep pools of wretched misery, or oceans that had no end. But Arthur Hope was not a poet. His only observation about the woman's face was his hope that she wouldn't burst into tears during the sitting. Arthur made his living off of grief, of course, but dealing with the grieving was a rather tiresome facet of his profession. As the widow went on about her poor deceased lover, his gentle and charitable nature, and so on, he carefully prodded her now and again about the man's general features, forming an image in his head of how best to shape his next creation. Oh, nice, handsome lad. Hmm. A young man with a lion's mane of bright hair, average height, deep-set eyes. Sure, I have a plate matching the description somewhere. Good thing I had a wig handy. Ah, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I have a real picture to take first. There are so many things I wish I had said to him. Oh, he told me not to worry, but I'm sure he was a wonderful man, madam. So sorry once again for your loss. You know, I always tell my clients I can never guarantee when my camera might capture a spirit. Today I feel almost certain he might be in the room with us. Why don't we take your picture now and see for ourselves? Yes, of course. Make yourself at home. I'll be right back. Cringe voice acting. Center your subject within the frame. Okay. Oh, I see. Is that right? Did I do it? Am I supposed to click somewhere else, or am I just a D? Ah, I see. I just needed to go up a little bit more. That should leave enough space to add a spirit. Oof. So we're kind of a con man. We're ready to begin. Please stay still until I tell you when the exposure is complete. Yes. If you're there, my darling, please show yourself. Please. Arthur Hope hadn't always been a charlatan. Once he had been Artie, a shy and painfully honest boy with angelic blue eyes and a limitless imagination. He spent every chance he could in his uncle's library, losing himself in tales of monsters and terror. They were never so frightening as the real world around him, he could honestly say. Honestly, however, would rather turn out to help him. Honesty, I'm sorry, not to help him. Honesty had not stopped his uncle's cane, nor his withering looks. It did not protect him from the schoolmates' vicious pranks, nor impress the teachers, gray, hollowed men with thinning hair and thick spectacles at the various boarding schools that always inevitably sent him back home. It hadn't always been his fault. One simply closed due to an unfortunate scarlet fever outbreak. No, it was a liar's world, and by the time Arthur Hope first found himself behind the lens of his late uncle's sliding box camera, he'd built, well, if not a kingdom of lies, then at least a barony. At just shy of 30, his schemes had brought him an unsteady income and the regard of a handful of influential friends, few of whom knew his background or how he truly borrowed from them. Arthur's uncle had taken up photography late in his life, and having no family save for his troublesome nephew, had left the young man the aging house he turned into his studio along with a small fortune in equipment after his death. Arthur had had little interest in the profession beforehand, but even he could not resist the allure of burgeoning technology that was so much like magic, capturing light through a mechanical eye, preserving an image of the world, a single moment in time. It was something just like the tales of mystery he grew up on. The ability to capture his own likeness was, of course, its own draw. He had a fair face, he was not shy to admit, and would like a reminder of it should he ever have the misfortune of living a long life. Misfortune of living a long life. Oh, that's relatable. Carefully, he slid the plate holder out from the camera's wooden frame. A pile of discarded glass plates and blurry albumen? Never seen that. Albumen prints sat on a table beside him, the fruits of his earlier attempts. I have a good feeling about this one. Let's get you to the darkroom, shall we? It was as the print formed in the early afternoon sun that Arthur Hope saw his uncle's ghost in the frame beside him. Uh-oh. Spirit caught on camera? Oh, I can move these, okay. Spirit caught on camera. For capturing ghostly images. Ghost photograph shocked the world. Spirit photography, the man behind the camera. Our spirits all around us. Ghost photographer Arthur H. Hope claims to have the answer. What do they want me to do? Move one of these in here? Or take one out? Oh, okay, never mind. It did say put the subject in the center. Yeah, there we go. It was only after a sleepless night of waiting for a spirit to accost him, then furiously rifling through his uncle's equipment, that he realized he'd made a simple and perfectly ordinary mistake. Photographic plates have to be cleaned very thoroughly to remove any imprint left behind by a previous negative. Arthur, an amateur, had not done so. Thus a trace of one of his uncle's self-prints remained on the glass plate he'd used for his own. But the fact that the image had lined up so perfectly was nothing short of a miracle. A miracle that sparked the idea for a brand new, lucrative story in Arthur's mind. It's him! Oh, my darling, I knew you were with me all this time. Thank you, Mr. Hope. Thank you. He looks so peaceful. I don't know what to say. Overwhelmed, the widow began to sob. Arthur patted her back gently. I can earn more if I make them come back for a sitting or two before I give them a spirit. But, I feel sorry for her this time. I'm growing soft. Not at all, madame. It brings me joy to know you have a guardian spirit watching over you even beyond the grave. I can be at peace now, thanks to you. Please, take this. She handed him a stack of crisp banknotes, far more than the agreed-upon sum. I can't possibly, madame. I insist. Not a bad use of time after all. Guy's a dickhead. Part 2. Portrait of a Girl. I so wish I could do a girl voice. I said I was going to practice and do it a girl voice or something while not recording, and I just didn't do it. I'm stuck like this. Sorry, gang. Late in the evening, a knock came at Arthur's door. The widow had been his last appointment of the day, but it was all too common for unwanted visitors to arrive long after closing. Sometimes it was the press, sometimes an angry skeptic, sometimes a wretched, grieving soul who would beg for his charity. Arthur. Oh, nice. First decision. Okay, let's save. Ignored it or headed for the door? We want the drama. Headed for the door. I don't know if I said already, but this game has 4 endings apparently, so I'm gonna go get all those. Arthur crept down the staircase to the entryway of the old house and quietly approached the door. He carefully looked through the spy hole. Stood there in the rain. It was a girl. She didn't seem to have an umbrella or a raincoat. It was a miracle that she wasn't drenched thoroughly. Perhaps she arrived by carriage? But Arthur hadn't heard one approaching, and none were stopped in the street. Once more, she rapped on his door. Arthur wondered how long she'd been standing there. He decided to. Ooh, okay. Save point. Well, I said what I said. We're opening the door. With some hesitation, Arthur swung the door open. Can I help you, miss? In the gloom of the rain, lit with only the light coming from the hall, the young woman was surprisingly lovely. She looked about 20, with a face so fair she could have been a porcelain doll, not for the deep brown eyes that stared with such vivid intensity from behind her dark lashes. Locks of her chestnut hair spilled from a bonnet trimmed with wide ribbons and silk roses. Her gown was made of a rich green satin and fine white lace and looked expensive, yet at least a decade out of style. The girl clearly came from money, but it seemed that she, or her guardians, dated taste. You the photographer? It was soft, done betraying my nervousness. Her brown eyes stared right at him, almost. Arthur felt straight through him. Yes, my friends call me Arthur. I don't wish to become your friend, sir. But if you are indeed who you say you are, then I require your services. Making demands straight away, eh? Definitely a rich lass, perhaps even highborn. In that case, best to hear her out. What can I do for you, miss? You are the photographer, are you not? I need you to take my picture. I'd be happy to make an appointment with you, miss, but I can't guarantee a spirit will appear. I don't want anyone or anything else in this photograph. I just need my picture taken. Likely story. You wouldn't be the first to ask for a simple, ordinary sitting while secretly hoping for a ghost to appear. Well, I'm fully booked for quite a while, but I'd be happy to arrange a sitting. You don't have... you have no one with you now. Why can't you take my picture? Miss, it's late. Lamplight makes for a poor image, and I have to wait until daylight to make the print in any case. Might I also emphasize how inappropriate it is for a young lady to call upon a man uninvited after dark. Please. Picture. That's all I ask. Please. I've been waiting so very long. I should... Is this another save? Oh, okay. Hear her out? That's what we're doing, dog. Can I at least ask why you need a photograph so badly? There's somebody I must send my picture to. Somebody who I haven't seen in a very long time who needs to see how I look now. I've changed. There are plenty of other studios that could accommodate you. None of them would open the door to me. None of them are like you. There truly is nobody in this world like you, sir. Well, if there's anything I can't resist besides a large purse, it's flattery. And let's admit it, that sweet face isn't an easy one to refuse. Being around sobbing fools all day really has turned me soft. You've convinced me. Please step this way, miss. Edith. Edith Harper. Edith Harper. Can I offer you any tea? None, thank you. Please, can we hurry? As you wish. Gonna start making all the girls sound like Mickey Mouse. Please, can we hurry? Oh! Should I do this? Yeah, go as high as possible first. Do this. Which one's the center? Okay, there we go. Jeez. We'll need more candles. Can't get an image like this. Technology is awfully inconvenient. Technology is awfully inconvenient. You could have come by during... sorry. You could have come by during daylight, you know. Where'd she go? Okay. Guys, I swear I'm not dumb. I'm trying to get this centered. Oh my god! Jesus, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna remember that. In case I ever see this chair again, I'm gonna remember this spot right here. Right here. Okay, alright. Let me remember that. Commit it to memory. Wait, where does she go? Are you ready yet? Yes, we can begin now. Come over me. First I let some arrogant, ill-mannered girl walk over me like a carpet, and now I'm seeing things? I didn't think she was ill-mannered. She seemed desperate. 59, 60. You can move now, miss. Is that all? Good. I'll go prepare a plate now. But again, you'll have to come back tomorrow for the print, Miss Harper. I open at... I'll visit you at the same time tomorrow evening. Good night, sir. Wait! Arthur stopped her, concerned. No, he didn't. He let her go. So many options. So I wonder if it is like Kit, where the red... No, I can't even say that, because they had red options that seemed like they were going to be a big deal, and they were a big deal. But when I wanted to find the last picture in that game for completion's sake, none of the options I chose were red that changed the outcome, so I guess I'll just keep saving on these. I think I'm going to do stopped her concerned. Arthur stopped her concerned. Do you need me to call you a carriage? Awfully rainy. Oh, that's sweet of you, but decorum isn't necessary. You don't have to act concerned for me. She smiled a little sadly, and quickly turned her back and again headed for the doorway. I'll be back soon. Good night. Disregarding his protest, she slipped from the room, through the entryway and out the front door into the rainy night. She didn't even ask to borrow an umbrella. I forgot to discuss payment, too. Well, hopefully she brings enough with her tomorrow. Now, I have to get this place ready before it dries, but after that, perhaps I'll retire early. It certainly has been an interesting night. That night, Arthur Hope had strange dreams. Part 3. Phantoms. A chill wind rocked the house, rapping against the walls. Figures crept around the edges of Arthur's vision, flickering like flames, hovering like moths. A weight covered his entire body. He could not shift or twist his limbs. The blankets engulfing him felt like earth packed with stones. Heavy. Cold. Damp. Something wriggled under his clothes, creeping up his neck, over the side of his cheek, into his eye sockets. Ooh. Another crawled into his open mouth, slithered down his windpipe. He tried to scream, but no sound came. His jaw was locked in place, his lungs were still. More writhing things engulfed him, eating at his flesh, digging between his bones. Arthur jerked violently out of bed, gasping. Cold air filled his lungs, bringing him back to the waking world. He rubbed his eyes, then struck a match and lit the candle at his bedside table. The flame danced as he lifted it, gingerly in the dark. No use trying to go back to sleep after that. Ugh. Water first, then I'll head to my study and read. Uh-oh. A noise rang out in the dark. Arthur listened, sure it must be the rain on the roof or a shutter against the windows. The sound was too close to come from outside. No, it was more like footfalls, creaking of a floorboard. Good Lord, did someone break in while I was asleep? Quietly, Arthur reached beside his bed for his familiar weight of his uncle's cane, and carefully, cautiously stood up. Oh, I'm looking around. Oh, nice. Is that a spirit in the door? Get a hold of yourself, Art. A burglar is nothing. You've dealt with worse. What is the worst you've dealt with, brother? Still nothing. It's pounding in my chest. It's all thanks to that blasted dream. Oh? I know you're there. Come out. Nothing. Did I imagine it? I'm sure I heard a sound. The sound came again, but thicker, heavier, clunking along the wooden floorboards. Arthur continued through the house, heartbeat growing faster, louder, more erratic with every step. His grip never left the hefty weight of his wooden cane. I'll teach you to never to lie to me again, boy. I didn't. I swear it. Then, left it out in the rain. This book was worth more than your sorry hide. But the cane seemed to grow heavier in his hand, then warmer, then white hot like a flame. Arthur jerked and dropped it from his hand. It landed on the floorboards with a thud. He brought his searing hand to the candlelight. It was burned straight through the bone, leaving ruined melted flesh on his blackened skeleton. Fire engulfed his body. His skin melted from his flesh, crisping and charring. He let go of the candle, screaming. A tiny flame licked at the wood and set it alight. Everything turned to smoke and fire and dust. Arthur tried to run, to scream again, but black smoke filled his lungs. His body felt like it was buried in earth. Hot. Earth. Nothing was left of him now but bones and ash. And then, there was nothing left at all. Nothing but darkness. And the sound of that infernal pain. Arthur Hope's remained curled up on the floor, writhing like an insect, uttering pitiable, choking cries that sputtered into rasping gasps. And there, as he lay on the floor, in the corner of his eye, blurry, barely visible, like a photographic negative, an after-image, a phantom, figure stood, ghostly white. Part 4. Portrait of a Ghost. Arthur Hope awoke at dawn in his bed. He lay silently, heart still racing as the faint ruby light traced his face. He breathed in, then out, in, then out, slowly until his heartbeat steadied. Then he gingerly sat up and rubbed his eyes. I haven't had a dream like that since the old man. Well, not in a long time. He felt beside his bed. The familiar, terrible weight of that old wooden cane rested in the same spot it always did. A quick look in the mirror as he dressed confirmed that his body and skin remained intact and unburned. He was none the worse for wear, save for the dark shadow blooming around his eye. That morning, he skipped his usual perusal of the paper and crept up to his study, unearthing a pen and ink and an old journal from his drawer instead. Familiar old handwriting and scribbles peeked out from the pages. Why am I so shaken up that I'd return to this? It's a shame no one invented a camera that can capture dreams yet. I suppose then there'd be no need for poets. Ooh, bars. Already so good. The hours passed by, yet Arthur found himself in such a daze that he could barely focus as he lined up shot after shot and prepared plate after plate. Strange night. Old memories. A strange yet stunning girl. It was late afternoon by the time Arthur realized he'd forgotten to do what the same girl who so occupied his mind had asked of him. It's cloudy out, but there should be enough light to get a print. Arthur carefully set the glass plate in the printing frame, secured a sheet of albumen paper against it, and closed the case and set it by the windowsill. Now, to let it sit. It was as the last rays of the sun faded that Arthur Hope pulled the image from the frame. He stared straight into the face of a corpse. What? The negative looked fine when I put it in. Did I expose it to the wrong plate? But none of my ghosts look like this. That girl. Edith. She must have tampered with it. Yeah, dude, that's it. But why? What does she want with me? Uh-oh. A familiar rapping came at the door. Arthur stared at the doorway with a sick feeling in his chest. He answered the door. No, he certainly did not. I like this. So, no, he certainly did not. Well, we're going for the drama, so. He answered the door. Arthur stomped to the door and flung it open, 1,000 questions and accusations on his tongue. You have a lot You have a lot to explain, Miss Harper. This isn't... Nobody was there. No girl in green satin. Not a single soul. Arthur gritted his teeth and turned away. Why are you so upset? Scream. The girl who stood in his sitting room wore no bonnet or day dress. Dirt and soil and damp, dark stains clung to her bare feet and rotted, ruined nightgown. Her skin clung to her flesh in patches, pieces of it eaten away and rotted to the bone. Her long hair was matted in thick tangles. Her eyes were gaping hollows. Some of your profession certainly startles easily. Miss Harper? What do you want? This isn't funny. Certainly not. I'd like my photograph, please. What kind of trick is this? You're the ghost photographer, are you not? Isn't that why you agreed to take my picture? You're a ghost? You expected me to be among the living? Well, perhaps proper introductions are in order. My name is Edith Emmeline Harper. Emmeline. I like that name. It's beautiful. I died in an accident 11 years ago. I'll spare you the details, but in short, I found it rather upsetting that my body still hasn't been discovered. So when I heard about you, I decided to take matters into my own hands. You expect me to believe any of this? Is this new to you? I thought you were more of the worldly type. See for yourself, then. Edith reached out toward him. Arthur jerked back, but the girl did not flinch. She gently lifted a filthy hand to his face. Arthur waited for the feeling of rotten flesh. The girl's skin was smooth and cold. Ice cold. Far too cold and still to belong to something living. Her fingers lingered there until finally Arthur grasped her hand with his own. It felt like gripping ice. The longer he held, the more his own skin grew cold, numb, and then prickled like something was crawling beneath it. That's enough. Fine. You're dead. So, what does a ghost want with me then? I want you to send that photograph to my brother. Stupid fool thinks I ran off with some man. Me? Elope? Honestly. Tell him to look for me near the old chapel where we used to play. Why don't you tell him yourself? Why haunt me? Very few people can see or hear ghosts, Mr. Hope. Of them, well, let's just say that a few murderers end up as oh my god, professional photographers. That's grim. What did you say? There was only one thing in common between the people who could see or hear me, Mr. Hope. They'd all killed before. Part 5. Mental Vivere. Arthur Hope wasn't always a charlatan. Once, he'd been a penniless young man struggling to make an honest living, and often had to supplement his income through other means. When one day, a letter arrived for him from his elderly uncle, requesting his assistance around the household due to the old man's ailing health, young Art packed his few belongings and headed to what he hoped would be a welcome reunion. That hope would quickly be dashed. I never killed anyone. I didn't kill him. I didn't mean to. He had half a foot in the grave already, so I didn't... Arthur, I just wanted to scare him. He deserved that much. He treated me like dirt my entire life. And then, when he called me to his sickbag, I thought maybe he'd apologize to me just once. No. The old man wanted to cut me out of his will. Me, his only flesh and blood, just to spite me. He knew that I had nothing. He knew that that money was the difference between life and death, but all he wanted was to spit in my face at the end. What else could I have done? Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Look at you. You're alive, aren't you? So long as you're alive, you can change. You can claw yourself out of whatever hell you've built. It's only us ghosts who have to be stuck in the past. She's right, then bars them. Yet you've been haunted all this time, haven't you? It's done. I signed it in your name, so he'll be sure to open it. Thank you. Arthur Hope carefully placed the sealed envelope into his coat pocket and dusted himself off. His possessions, most of the things that belonged to his uncle, rather, had all been sold or given away. Daylight filtered through the curtains onto the almost empty room. The house felt like a ghost itself. Arthur picked up his worn leather suitcase, packed it with a few belongings he'd first arrived with long ago, and checked that the envelope was still in his pocket. Then he walked down the empty hall. He stopped when he saw the familiar shape of the wooden cane resting against the wall. He briefly picked it up, feeling its weight, ran his fingers along its aged surface, then sighed and set it down again. He walked out of the front door without looking back, a figure only he could see trailing behind him. What will you do? Start over. Or try to. I need time to sort out all my messes. Time away from here. It's not like I have anything tying me to this place. I do wonder, though. Ghosts exist. Why didn't the old man ever haunt me? Perhaps he had no reason to stay. Ghosts aren't eternal. They fade away just like people do. Like I will too, is what it sounds like she wants to say. Arthur exited the post office and decided to walk to the harbor. The air was cool and damp. He carefully stepped over puddles left behind from the rain, weaving between passerby. People rushed here, there, without any break in their monotone lives. But at least they were alive. What will you do? What I've done for the past decade, I suppose. Wander around, see the sights, watch my brother and my nieces. Wait until I get sick of the living world and see what lies beyond. Say, ghosts travel. Far away from where they died, I mean. I don't know. Can't say I've ever tried. Well, would you like to... Arthur dropped the subject. Another save point. Bing, bang, bang, boom, bing, bang, boom. We're gonna go, would you like to? Would you like to join me? I mean, countless years without anyone to talk to sounds awfully dull. I thought you said you had enough of ghosts. Fake ghosts. Metaphorical ghosts. Not the real thing. Well, I suppose I had better keep an eye on you. Who knows what trouble you'll dig yourself into? And you are far better company than some of the serial killers I've met. That's horrifying. And fascinating. Tell me more. As the ship pulled away from the harbor, Arthur spotted a familiar face among the passengers on deck. Mr. Hope? Is that you? Madam, what brought you here? I'm returning home to see my family. I know my dear Samuel wouldn't want me to be all by myself. But what about you? I'm doing some traveling. Just a moment, you have a bit of dust on your shoulder. As the young woman's attention was diverted, Arthur deftly slipped a wad of blank notes into her pocket. I wish you all the best, madame. You as well, Mr. Hope. Take care. I just decided to turn a new leaf. Edith? The girl had stepped away to watch the sea, transfixed on the deep blue that stretched toward the horizon. The sky had cleared, and sunlight now sparked as on the crashing waves. Arthur stood beside her quietly and gazed out as the ship slowly sailed away from shore. If he were a poet, he might have tried to describe the color of the sky or the depths of the water breaking around them. But he only sighed and felt a little sorry that his sliding box camera hadn't fit in his case. Oh, that was relatively short. Arthur H. Hope would succumb to consumption within a decade, but only after writing a series of beloved mystery novels that featured a cunning detective and his unusual companion, a ghost. He became known for his odd habits, including carrying a sliding box camera around with him and seemingly always talking to himself. His last words were supposedly a name, Edith. To his dying day, he never revealed just how he made his ghosts appear in his photographs. I believe they were simply real all along. Ending 4, Carpe Diem. Okay, so we got ending 4. Well, let's go get the other endings. First, let's see. I think I kind of want to start with the furthest and then work backwards, just in case it's longer, right? So we're going to go with this. Arthur dropped the subject instead of asking her to come travel with us. I see. Well, I guess this is goodbye. Yes, for now at least. Everybody dies, you know. Perhaps I'll see you again sooner than you think. Farewell, Edith. Okay. As the ship pulled away from the harbor, Arthur spotted a familiar face among the passengers on deck. Okay, so it seems we got some of the same stuff here. There's some traveling. Puts the money back in her pocket. Tells her to take care. Boom shakalaka. As the widow walked off, Arthur turned and gazed out at the sea. The sky had cleared and the sunlight now sparkled in the crashing waves. Okay, so he stood at the shore and thought about. He could see for a moment a flash of green standing in the harbor. But the next moment it was gone. Okay. Arthur H. Hope would be arrested and convicted on fraud charges within the next 5 years. It seemed he never could change his old habits. He was unable to complete his sentence, however, as his health would quickly worsen. He succumbed to consumption in a matter of months. His last words were simply a name, supposedly a name, Edith. Coincidentally, it would be a Miss Edith Amy Harper who would compile the poems he'd written during his short imprisonment and publish them posthumously? Posthumously. Oh, that's how you say that. That's how you spell that. Yet nobody could figure out, in the end, how he made his ghosts appear in the photographs, if they were real all along. Okay. Ending 3. Carmen Signy. I don't know what that means. Cool, okay, so we get ending 3. We got 3 and 4. Boom, we'll come back here. What was this one? Oh, this was after he had his dream, right? Right, I think this... Hold on, it says right here. Just supposed to the wrong place. The girl like this. Kind of wanna. Right, he had his dream. Scared shitless. And he hears tapping on the door. He answered the door. No, he didn't. And when I answered the door last time, nobody was right there, but then I turned around and Edith was there. So we'll say no. No, he certainly did not open the door. Arthur waited for the sound, the infernal sound, to stop. He buried his head in his arms. I've had enough of this. Enough! Gradually, the tapping softened, then slowed. Finally, it fell silent. Arthur breathed a deep sigh, then quietly got up and peeked through the spy hole. Nobody was there. No girl in green satin, not a single soul. Arthur gritted his teeth and turned away. Why are you so upset? Ah, okay, so we still get this. We skip all of this until he gets to the next choice. So that didn't really make a difference. It's not here. Arthur stopped her concerned. He didn't. He let her go. This is after we take the photo of Edith, and then she's leaving. And I said, Arthur stopped her concerned, but this time we'll say, no, he didn't. He let her go. Don't think this is going to make a huge difference. Never mind. I'll see you tomorrow, then. Disregarding his protest, she slipped from the room. Okay, so that was that. You can tell, see, you can tell when, which I love that the dev puts this in here. You can tell when you already have dialogue that you can basically skip, because it has a skip button right here. If it's new, it'll just stay grayed out, and you can't do it. So, like, that's how I know, like, I can just go back now. Okay, so here we'll go here. This is after we open the door for Edith for the first time. I'm gonna send her away. I think I've made my answer clear, miss. Good day. Please. Arthur slammed the door closed. He waited there for a moment, perhaps out of some small sense of remorse for leaving a desperate girl alone in the rain, but no further knocking came. Perhaps I could have offered her an umbrella, but she didn't ask, and it isn't my concern anyway. Sparing one final glance at the door, he turned his back and retreated up the staircase to his study once more. Time passed, and Arthur soon forgot about his strange visitor. Right this way, Mr. Harper. Can I offer you any tea? None, thank you. Of course. Did you bring a guest with you for the sitting? What? No, I came alone. Then who was that? Oh, never mind. Ending 1, Memento Mori. Okay, so now we're just missing ending 2. I guess maybe ending 2 is simply not even bothering. Like if it's... Hold on, is it this one? Ignore her. I imagine ignore her would get the same thing. Let's do ignore her. Arthur stepped back from the door, but once more the knocking came, growing more desperate. Perhaps she needs help. I hate to get involved, but it wouldn't do me good to become known for letting some poor soul catch her death in the rain. With some hesitation, okay, so he opens the door anyway here, so I guess ending 2 must be when we're here. And when I hear the door knocks the first time, I ignore it. He got up only to stretch, then returned to the desk where his correspondence was piled. One request to travel for sittings. It's that time I open a separate studio. Perhaps it'd be better to leave this town entirely first. Thoughts were interrupted by another knock, and soon another. Perhaps I should at least see who it is. Huh, so... we still get here. How do we get ending 2? I'm gonna have a look around, but if I... Game is relatively short though, and the skip feature really does help. But if I end up getting confused, they actually do have a guide on the itch.io page to show you how to get all the endings. And I just want to get the second one too. I don't want to... I'll be back. Oh. there's something new. What? In a dream like that, blah blah blah, he felt inside his bed, familiar, blah blah blah. In the mornings, he was shaken up by this. Is a shame. No one's invented a camera that gets you. The hours pass by. Okay, so this is after I've had the dream. The hours passed by. I actually have no idea what I did. The hours passed by, yet the previous night had left him in such a daze that it was only after he sent off a tearful client in the late afternoon that Arthur remembered the strange girl and her odd request. Cloudy out. There should be enough light to get a print. Arthur carefully said, okay, so I got the same thing here. He answered the door. No, he certainly did not. Okay, I'm gonna save here because I feel like I got something slightly different. So just in case. So I'll say no, he certainly did not. Skip again. Oh, can't skip this, okay. As her bony fingers lingered on his face, he felt his own skin grow colder, tingling until it felt like something was crawling beneath it. Nothing was different right there, though. Wait, what? Oh, sorry. Part 5, Memento Mori. I thought it said, like, ending 5 or something. Arthur Hope wasn't always a charlatan. Oh, we have a different setting. Wait, hold on, let me go back. What did you say? Oh, this is when she brings up killers being photographers, being able to see ghosts. What did you say? There was only one thing in the comic, blah, blah, blah. They all killed before. Okay. And it says, once he's simply been a oh, sorry. Okay. Alright, so here we go. Arthur Hope wasn't always a charlatan. Once he'd simply been a desperate man. Once. Now that was no longer the case. It was the city before. It was the city setting, but now it's the woods. Once. Now that was no longer the case. Okay. Nobody looked twice at the well-dressed gentleman with twinkling blue eyes, even though he was far too young to need the heavy walking stick he carried as he traipsed? Is it traipsed? Traipsed, urn in hand to the shore side. There he tossed a pile of ashes into the sea. Then he turned and walked back the way he came. I never killed anyone. I didn't kill him. Get out. Now! And don't come back. I still need you. I like how her eye changed from hollow to full there. I'm done helping you. Done. Went back to black. The dead should stay dead. They should stay out of the affairs of the living, damn it. Haven't I given enough? Haven't I suffered enough? How much more are you going to take from me? The girl looked at him with hollow, empty socket eyes. Her mouth was set in a way that almost looked like an expression of pity. When Arthur looked at her again, she was gone. Time passed and the days moved on much like they had always had, but Arthur never completely forgot his ghostly visitor. Sometimes he imagined he could see her hollow face peeking from behind a doorway, with the corner of a frame of his sliding box camera. The next moment, it would be gone. Arthur's clients continued to visit him, seeking to soothe their sorrow and grief, and Arthur continued to provide what only he could. And he might have done so for a long time, if not for the one ghost that turned out to be quite alive. A distraught young woman had visited him after her beloved had died at sea. His ship sunk beneath the waves. Yet, a few weeks after his ghost portrait was taken, he turned up right at his beloved doorstep, thin and haggard, but very much still breathing. It seemed that after his ship sank, the sailor miraculously washed up on a desert island, where he survived off of kelp and rainwater for some weeks before finally being rescued. Soon, people began to talk, and more inconsistencies in the spirit photographs came to be noticed, until finally one day an angry crowd formed at Arthur's doorstep. But by then, the confidence trickster, had fled. Okay. Arthur Hope was never seen or heard from again. Indeed, the name Hope soon became forgotten as other so-called spiritualists and mediums followed in his footsteps, claiming to speak to the dead or hear otherworldly voices. Most of them were frauds. Not a scant few truly believed in their own powers, so desperate they were to speak to their departed loved ones. Edith pitied them more than she pitied the bloodied ghosts she would pass by every now and then. Ghosts like the man who once had devilish eyes and smiled slyly from behind a sliding box camera. He would appear from time to time in the window of an old house, until it was destroyed, and then, along the shore of the sea on nights when the fog rolled in. Edith knew that the living would never dare hope to hear the voices of the dead. If they only knew the sound of Arthur Hope's blood-curdling screams. Ending 2. Sic Transit Gloria Mundi. Nice. Okay, so that was all 4 endings. Well, as far as the story goes, I love that. Well, the game developer said that they were inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. I believe it said that on the kit page. And you can clearly see that here. I like the fact that they use rapping all the time for that. Um, or in their dialogue. Like one thing that I really, really like so far between this one and the other one, because I've only played these two, is that you can take a situation that seems okay and suddenly make it horrifying, and it's like something mundane, right? So for him, he's in it. I know this, it's a dream, but he's dead chilling, and the next thing you know, in this dead quiet house in this time period that they're in, you just hear tap, 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 and creak. Just those things alone scare the piss out of anybody, right? Where in Kit, it was he was in there, and then he opened up, he was like locked inside the cellar, and then he opens up the chest, and there's a skeleton in there, and he's like, holy crap. But then it becomes normal. And you don't feel so bad. He doesn't feel so scared about it. In fact, he thinks it's kind of funny, right? But then later on, he hears the sound of some steps and voices. And the way that it's written kind of makes you feel afraid for him because you don't know what's going on. He doesn't know what's going on. And he gets ready to defend himself by either taking a stake out of the body or using the glass shard from one of the bottles or whatever. And it turns out it's a phonogram or phonograph, however you say it or whatever. So I don't know. Once again, banger music, banger art style, great story, great writing. This game dev knows what they're doing, and I am, forever grateful for seeing any of the things that they do. I hope they have a great future ahead of them or a bright future ahead of them. So anyway, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my cringe voice acting again, but I'm not gonna stop playing these games. So see you in the next one. Adios.